Awesome, we are good to go. Welcome everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Ultimate BFCM Power Up by Mason. I'm Ria. I'll be your host for today. And today I have a very, very special guest with me, Stephanie Bregman. She is the Chief Marketing Officer at the Manly Bands, which is an amazing D2C wedding band brand that has been featured on Inc. 500 as one of the fastest growing companies in the US. And I was kind of looking up their website, and I must say, the collection is it's breathtakingly beautiful. It's totally amazing. To all the listeners, I mean, do go there and like check them out. It's amazing. Stephanie, really, really happy to have you here. Over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself and your amazing brand, Manly Bands.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Stephanie Bregman. I am the Chief Marketing Officer at Manly Bands. I have been in the direct-to-consumer world now for probably since the 90s, when I started creating websites and Dreamweaver before they even had credit card processing online. So it's amazing to see the growth in the industry, and that's primarily what I have been really working on this in the past 20 years, is just working with D2C brands and helping them really scale and figuring out what they need to do to help them become more relatable as a brand, how to create an exciting brand behind the company, as well as just really building incredible marketing teams. And so we have a great group at Manly Bands. I want to tell you a little bit about the company. It started off with our co-CEOs, John and Michelle. And John is a self-proclaimed bigger guy. He went into a jewelry store. He could not find a wedding band that would fit him. And they pulled out a catalog and showed him 3 gold options. And there were thousands of dollars. And he's like, this experience kind of sucks. The story really resonated with me because it was authentic, and I felt very similar when I got married. My husband's like, what ring do I get? And I just, shoo them off to the other section and say, pick something. And so I realized when I heard about Manly Bands that there was a need in the market for something that was different, that guys do care about their wedding band. It's something they have to wear for the rest of their lives. And so what I love about the company is we have a lot of non-traditional materials, things like Jack Daniel's whiskey barrel, Fender guitar wood, meteorite, dinosaur bone. And so we base our goal is to find a product that is right for every man, woman, or even alien. We joke around in some of our ads, but it's such a fun brand. And you know what? The wedding process is so stressful for our customers that let's try to make it a little bit easier for them. And that's kind of where, why we have such strong customer service. We care a lot about making sure that we have a really good product and we can get it to our customers as quickly as possible. So that's a little bit about the company.
That's amazing. I mean, that's an incredible story. And I mean, I love the tagline which says say no to boring and traditional.
Yes.
That sounds super cool. I'm a marketing enthusiast as well, so I would love to know, since you have so much experience in this space, what are some of your favorite moments working as a CMO for this brand?
There has been so many. I mean, I think about the first week I started at Manly Bands, which was in 2019. I walked into them creating one of their first commercials ever. And I get into this big kind of like warehouse building, and there are literally horses walking through. There are people dressed as cowboys and aliens. And that was literally like the first week I started. And so I think it just kind of started off like the understanding that the customer experience is so important, and trying to understand that brand humor. And it was really incredible. So I would say that was my first thing that I would probably mention that has been really incredible for us. I would say, gosh, there's probably so many of them. I would say the licensing. I think probably one of the biggest ones was the fact that I was able to help bring in our first license partner, which was Jack Daniel's. And so that was really incredible to be able to start creating that licensing department. And the main reason that had started was because we were the leader in the space, and we just noticed a lot of people were trying to copy our naming conventions and trying to do exactly what we were doing. And we want to make sure that we always can provide things that are very unique, and having those licensed partners was just another way of us really standing out in the market and trying to be different so that we could have a different product for every type of person. So I would think, I was going to say, I definitely think the licensing piece was probably extremely important on my end. And I think I would say also Yeah, I would say that was a big one. And then probably the other thing I would say is really important, or that really stuck with me, is just the team. This is a company that has the most incredible team, the most incredible and we have an incredible creative team. We have our own in-house studios and our photographers and our videographers. And the focus on the importance of that creative, I think, is what makes us so impressive as a company, because we don't do things the same way that everybody else does them. And I think that's really imperative to a lot of our success. So
That's amazing. I mean, first of all, congratulations to you on that licensing part. I mean, that's a big win. That, I must say. And also because you mentioned something about other brands copying your naming convention and stuff like that. There's so much competition out there. Like, what's the competition space like for there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What's the competition like for manly bands? Like, how is it?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the competition is basically, I mean, we are definitely the largest men's wedding band company in the US right now. And I think our competitors are doing a really great job of providing amazing assets and creative, and we all play very nicely together. We all are very supportive of one another. And I think that starts at the top. Our CEO is extremely kind, and he'll do anything he can to even teach them some of the things that we're doing. But I think everybody is doing a great job, and everybody has their own unique area of expertise. Ours is really in non-traditional materials and in our brand humor, which is why we really do stand out. I think also a couple other things that were really special is the day that we got the Inc. 500's fastest growing company. We've gotten that Inc. 5000 2 years in a row, but when we got that, it was just, it helped to kind of clarify all the hard work that our team has done to show how fast that we were able to grow in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's great. That's super amazing. So also, I mean, I kind of read somewhere that you have also expanded your presence into offline retail, and you don't just have a D2C storefront, right? So, I mean, having an online omni-channel presence is key for, I mean, brand success today. So what are some of the major growth channels? I mean, today, is it offline retail, or is it?
I mean, we're not really doing a lot of Amazon. People aren't typically buying their wedding rings off Amazon, but I would say most everything we have is D2C. So whether it's, our advertising through Facebook, through Google, email or SMS. We've also done a lot of television. We've done podcasts. I think the goal for us is no matter what avenue that we're advertising and marketing to our customers, that we have a seamless experience between all of them. And a good example would be what we noticed was in the retail locations, customers were a little bit different than they were coming on the site. And what we found was that a lot of people that were coming in actually wanted to get a wedding band upgrade. And we're like, wait a second, if this market is here, we should really be capitalizing off of this in the digital side and let guys know that it is okay to get an upgrade. Women, we do it all the time. And what we kind of found silently is the guys were like, are we allowed to do that? And we're like, yeah, you have permission to do that. And so we found that having that omnichannel approach and listening to what our customers are thinking from all these different channels and really hearing them is allowing us to be better in other channels that we have. So if our customers in the store want to get band upgrades, we should make that easy as well on in our other D2C channels. So
correct. I totally agree. That's an amazing insight. In your experience, also, how do these growth channels kind of change or vary as and when you scale up as a brand?
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny when I've worked with some brands when they're just starting off right now, it's always, Facebook, it's Google, and it could be Google Shopping and brand campaigns and search campaigns and Facebook remarketing and prospecting campaigns. And that's kind of where you typically start. And eventually, once you get to a certain point, you'll kind of see with a lot of big D2C brands that grow quickly, you'll see in the first 2, 3, 4 years, tremendous growth. And then you start seeing it kind of dock it off a little bit. And what you have to find is a way of, number one, is there a way of growing our audience more than where we already are? Or we focus on other channels to help bring in the traffic that are more brand focused, whether they're YouTube or television or podcasts, things that are a little bit less traditional in the beginning of a startup, which means having to look at your marketing efficiency ratio a little bit different. Possibly, I would say those are probably the biggest things, but discovering new audiences, like people who, for a good example, for manly bands, it would probably be people who are already married, right? So if someone's already married, we want to upsell, that could be a brand new audience. Or if we have a license partnership with like DC or MLB, knowing that, hey, there's these group of people that are out there in a segment that may already be married, but we know they love this vertical specifically, and let's start working with them. Or it could be branching out internationally to customers across the world. So I think that's really where the focus has to be, is that as you're growing as a company, you have to find new ways of either coming up with new ideas to sell more product, helping from a post-purchase standpoint, or growing your audience in some capacity.
Got it. So because you were talking about growing your audience, now let's kind of deep dive into that bit and also some of the other strategies that you have mentioned, but more from a BFCM perspective, right? Because let's talk about the elephant in the room. The topic for today, for our audience, it's driving new shopper growth this holiday. So yeah. Stephanie, let me start with a very simple question. How are you gearing up for the holiday sales season? And also, is it relevant for your brand?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question because there's a lot of things that we are doing to kind of gear up for the holidays. I think the first thing that people have to really focus on is, and what we're focusing on, is prospecting, getting as much people into the funnel as possible now, making sure that the strategies are ready, so that, and not just marketing, but operations, products, shipping, and then working through that whole process of what that looks like, making sure that everybody is on board with the decisions, if they haven't made it already in a company, they've checked off the box that this is the plan we're going with, and this is what we're sticking to. And then also having backup plans for issues. I think right now that's kind of the place that we just went through. And now I think as a company, we are now trying to find additional products that we're going to be bringing in as things that are being offered to our customers during Black Friday. So it's just getting all the things done that typically take more time finished now, so that we're prepared. But we start preparing for Black Friday usually in August.
Oh, thank you. That's new insight, actually. That's really amazing. So Stephanie, I mean, do you have like a must-have checklist, like to-dos for brands in general to kind of drive better growth? Like what are some of those top things that brands should consider doing?
Well, clearly preparing early is one of them. So I would say the first one on my list is to prepare early. The second one I would say is just getting everybody to sign off on what your plan is. I've worked for companies before where we'll come up with a game plan, and then it hits certain C-level team members, and they want to change things. So they want to add some input, or they may know of something that, maybe marketing doesn't know. So making sure that all of the team members are aware of what the plans are, and that everybody's given the thumbs up moving forward. So for us, starting Black Friday, when I say starting, not planning, but actual Black Friday for us, it starts November 1st. And so I was going to say, offering those who sign up early, because people always say to me, well, if you're starting so early, how do you make sure that it's special? It's still going to be special because people know Black Friday, there's always something. But offering some incentive to sign up early, to get early access to those Black Friday specials that could run out when Black Friday officially begins. You just have to find ways to create that urgency, because I guarantee you that your competitors are also going to be, starting Black Friday very early. So you don't want to be just waiting for like the week of or the day of. I was going to say, making sure your site is ready, whether it's site speed or that your landing pages are ready, would probably be another big one. Making sure that you have enough product. That's another one people always forget about. A lot of people may not be doing discounts, or if they are, maybe they have giveaways that they're giving or promotions. And just to make sure that they're in sync with the product volume that you currently have. So working with product is super important to make sure that when you promise your customer something, that you can follow through with enough inventory to help. Preferably something without sizing, because then it makes it a little bit easier to carry that inventory and not run out of specific sizes. Working with operations, working with shipping is another one on my checklist to make sure we can meet the demand, the customer expectations. We look at like the previous year and we'll say, based off what we saw last year, we know there may be a slight increase here. This is how many people that we're going to need. Hey, we're offering this product now, so box sizes are going to have to be a little bit different, which means the shipping costs could be different. Are we okay with that? This is what it's going to look like. Do we have enough people? And then also have contingency plans. Things happen. So just coming up with plan B, C, D is super important. This is a time you don't want to mess around with. It only comes around once a year.
Amazing. Yeah, totally. Are there also any particular points to consider while selecting a growth channel in this case? I mean, we talked about Amazon, we talked about your D2C storefront, we talked about offline retail, right? So do you have any particular points that brands should consider while selecting a growth channel in this case?
Well, I will say this, we do a lot of prospecting, whether it's through Google, through Facebook, through lead generation. Like, for example, we use our ring sizers we offer them for free for people to size themselves on our website. That's a great way of building the audience. These are high intent people. We also collect their wedding dates. So it allows us to see whether or not they've been married yet or not. So it gives us an idea of where they fall from a standpoint of how likely are they to buy and when. And I think it's important to break out the campaigns for those prospecting channels. So we'll have like a pre-holiday campaign that we may push out like 4 or 5 weeks leading up to the Black Friday period to make, to help make not to make sales, but for just prospecting new customers, lead generation, or testing your audience's anticipation level, right? And interest to Black Friday. Then there's like a pre-Black Friday, which is what we usually do from November 1st till forward, where we say, okay, well, what does this look like? What's the goal? So I think as a company, you have to ask, like, what's your goal for pre-Black Friday ads? Are you generating leads from your audience, to increase that pool of potential shoppers? So I think that's important. Pre-Black Friday is extremely important. Black Friday would be the third campaign, which is that week of Black Friday, and then Cyber Monday. People forget about that. We even have post Cyber Monday, right? So after Cyber Monday wraps up, we'll make sure that we have a period after that to help customers who felt like, hey, I missed that sale. We still want to get something. Can we offer them? It's like a last chance deal for some other options to purchase. But I would say that with regards to what you were saying, that the channels typically for us are going to be Google, Facebook prospecting. And then as it comes closer, that prospecting remarketing kind of will shift. And then we also get very heavy on email, SMS.
Got it. So on that note, what I've heard from most folks is that they say the way your advertising budget is spent should also change in the run-up to BFCM. So what would be your thoughts on that as well?
So can you repeat that one more time? Sorry.
So yeah, I mean, the advertising budget, most people say that the budget kind of also needs to change. You need to refocus your spends, right, on different channels that you just mentioned. So it kind of changes in the run-up to the BFCM during the phase when you're kind of preparing for BFCM. So what would be your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not as much the channels, but it's the strategy within the channels that's going to change. So, let's say that you're doing like an 80-20 prospecting to remarketing, we start slowly shifting that, where the prospecting starts to lower, the remarketing starts to kind of heighten a little bit, whether it's through Google, whether it's through Facebook. We pull back on more of the big branding things, whether it's television or podcast, and we focus more on getting them now through that funnel. So we start to really hit them much more heavily on the remarketing side, on the email side, on the SMS side, as we get closer to the Black Friday time period. So that's typically my suggestion with any D2C brand, is to just really prepare with your ad buying team, whether it's in-house or you have a creative agency, to really think about, like, what does that transition look like? And how quickly should that happen based off what you've seen from like the past. And you can kind of look at your return on ad spend and see like when that increase kind of starts to happen and where you should start pushing. You can actually start doing that sooner than later, but I try to follow trends that I'm seeing in our data.
Got it. I mean, yeah, that's an amazing insight. I mean, what you said about it's not about the channel, but it's about the strategy that you have kind of in that channel, right? So exactly. Keeping strategies aside, now I just have a quick question about the offers and discounts that brands run, right? Are there any best practices for kind of offering discounts, especially when dealing with different customer segments? Example, 15% discount for VIPs, or let's say 10% for regular customers.
Yeah, typically we offer, one thing I will say, I try to recommend this to most companies, is that discounting is typically king during Black Friday. It's not the only option, because when I say discounting, it could be offering a free gift. It could be offering free shipping. But having some kind of big offer is important. Customers are typically expecting between 25 to 50% off during Black Friday. They're expecting those big deals. And so what we try to do is we try to offer some kind of a landing page that will show the products where we can have them up to 50% off or something along that line. So that, to show the customers that during this time there is value. Typically, we always want to make sure that we're protecting the brand. During Black Friday, we can kind of put that aside a little bit and say, this is the expectation of what our customers want us to do, because this is what, this is Black Friday. This is that time period. So all those kind of brand conceptions, I'm always okay with pushing that aside and saying Black Friday is one of the only times in the year where you can say, we're going to offer our largest discount. And if you can't do that, then what other thing can you offer that does have value, because your customers are expecting it, because your competitors are doing it. And if you're not, they will go to somebody else. I think it's more about not the discount itself, but more about creating the hype around Black Friday and getting people excited for it, because it's typically the best offers that we as a company will have all year long.
Got it. So because you mentioned about, creating the hype, offers and discounts, we do not just display them on the website, right? You have to be kind of creative with all types of communication. It can be through multiple channels, emails, socials, landing pages, so on and so forth, right? What are your thoughts on that? Would love to deep dive into it.
Yeah, it's so funny because Black Friday is such a phenomenon here. It's one of those things where you could literally put up a banner as long as you have something on the homepage or have a landing page that talks through Black Friday, Cyber Monday specials or deals during that time. That carries so much weight, and you want to make sure that your ads are similar to what they're seeing from an experience standpoint from the creative that you're offering. And you also have to make sure that it's very clear what you're telling your customers as well. I remember in the very beginning, we have two different sectors of rings. We have like our rings that are ready to ship rings, where we can manufacture them ahead of time. And then we have ones that are more of our made to order line. Well, our customers are not going to know the difference. So it doesn't make sense to use specific technical language. You want to make sure that this is the time where you're as clear as possible. A lot of companies, I know we've done this, is we will not ask for emails during Black Friday. We will give them the discount almost immediately to create a less friction during that process. The goal is to keep it easy. And then before Black Friday, I will say one of the things I always tell D2C brands is, as you are collecting data, make sure that the data you're collecting matters. Make sure that it can, that it's valuable and that can add value to the customer, because I find a lot of D2C brands before Black Friday are collecting a lot of data, but then they're not doing anything with that data, and they're not using that data in the capacity that it should be used to personalize the experience. As a customer, if I was to come onto the site and I know my wedding is coming up, and I see a pop-up that says, hey, your wedding is coming up in so many days. Wow, that's pretty amazing. That's incredible. Because we know your wedding's coming in so many days, these are the rings you should be looking for that can get to you in time. Like that's how we can use the information to personalize the experience, so the customer the customer will want to come in and buy from our company. So I just want to mention that, because I think that's an important topic of proper data collection, personalization, and really getting people excited about the brand. So when Black Friday does come up, that you are their first choice, and that discount just pushes them over the edge, knowing that Black Friday is here. As a brand, that's what's hard for us, is that there is things that are in the way of a purchase, whether it is getting that ring size, for example, talking to your partner about what ring they want. So we want to make sure we're not as a brand, we are not the kind of brand where it's a instantaneous purchase. So we need to have that team or those customers that are in the funnel in order for Black Friday to come off to be successful.
Amazing. That's amazing. Totally agree when you talk about personalization. It's definitely something that will help brands to stand out in the competitive landscape today. So coming to the other side of the coin, acquiring customers is just like one side of the coin. The other side, which is to kind of retain them, to kind of win them back, right? How can one ensure repeat purchases and hence kind of retain more customers in the long run, and not just think about BFCM?
Yeah, we always think about we don't really think about how to retain the customer as much as how can we provide enough value so that they want to come back. And honestly, for us, we're in the wedding space. So people typically get married one time when they buy their wedding band. At least we say 50% of them based on the divorce rates in the US. We would never wish that upon anyone. But otherwise, like, how do we get someone to come back and buy another wedding band? That's one of the biggest challenges that we faced as a brand. So what we have to then think of is like, okay, what happens to that bride and groom or groom and groom after the wedding or after they buy their wedding band, for example. So we know that guys come back and they want to get groomsmen gifts, or a lot of them may not even know that they should be getting them. So there's an educational process there where we know they purchase an item. We let them know about the groomsmen gifts that we carry so they can buy stuff that the groomsmen that are coming to their wedding and spending all this effort to be there. It's just a nice gesture. And then on top of that, we send them emails to say to them like, hey, we hope your wedding was amazing. We wish them a happy anniversary. Those touch points show as a brand that we care, because we do. I mean, we are very lucky to be able to sell a product to someone at the happiest point of their life, that they get to carry with them forever. And that's a huge honor for us. And so knowing that, we try to carry really unique and fun and different product that we think that our customers would really love over the span of time. And so whether we offer that through the groomsmen gifts or anniversary gifts or through other potential partners that we have, I think that by creating that brand, creating that trust, we have a huge social following. Our job is really to entertain our customers. And I think that they naturally want to come back. So when we do have a really cool product that comes out, we can send that over. Or, hey, you know what? People do upgrade their band. People have been with us for 4 or 5 years. It's an option. And so I think it's constantly evolving. And then for those brands who have a problem and can't figure out how do I get them to come back and buy the same product again, which is similar to ours, finding other channels that are similar. I've seen some other brands do it really well, where they're selling like a silicone product, like a silicone band, and then they get into silicone watches, or they get into, whatever it is from a branding standpoint. It's in the same genre of expertise of what they do really well. And then offering those products and knowing that they will buy because they love the brand so much and had such a great experience, which is why from an omnichannel standpoint, it's important that every single touch point serves our customers the way that we expect them to, so that they would want to come back.
Got it. That's amazing. I mean, thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I mean, we have a bunch of insights already on how to kind of drive new shopper growth this BFCM. Just to round up, I mean, we're already on time. Just to round up, what would be your quick top pieces of advice for brands to nail BFCM this year? Not just talking from the point of acquiring customers, but also nailing BFCM in general.
As long as you have a plan and you can execute that plan, you will do really well. Black Friday is one of those times of the year where people are expecting it. So as long as you're covering Black Friday in your ads, you have social organic strategy, you have, a strong creative strategy behind it. And I always say, if you feel excited about it and your customers will be excited about it, survey them, ask them what they would like to see. You'll do really well as long as you're prepared. Having the banner ads on site throughout the experience so that it's consistent. This is one of those times where people want to buy and you just have to make it easy for them. You have to make it an easy experience and you'll do really well. I don't think there's anything new I can really add onto that. And I think every brand that is listening, please feel free. They can always message me on LinkedIn if they have any specific questions surrounding what they are doing in their company. But I'm always happy to help. And I wish everybody a very happy Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie. That was perfect. Thank you so much. And by the way, you mentioned LinkedIn. How can they reach out to you over email or any other channel as well?
Yeah. I mean, the best way to reach me is probably through my LinkedIn profile. They can look up Stephanie Bregman, and they should be able to find me directly there. And I'm happy to accept and connect that way.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Have a nice day.